Imagine a massive cargo ship drifting silently across the Atlantic for over a year, without a single person on board. How did it end up stranded on the Irish coast? Meet the MV Alta, a ship that has captivated imaginations worldwide as a modern-day ghost ship. From abandoned journeys to pirate encounters, the story of the Alta is as mysterious as it is thrilling. Let's dive into this eerie, real-life maritime mystery. Built in Norway in 1976, the MV Alta was designed as a sturdy cargo vessel, originally named Tanager. Like many merchant ships, the Alta changed hands and names multiple times over the years, adopting its final name in 2017. By then, she had navigated oceans under flags from Norway to Panama, but her most mysterious journey was yet to begin. In September 2018, the Alta set off on what would become her final voyage. She was supposed to travel from Greece to Haiti, a journey stretching over 5,000 miles. Far longer than most voyages taken by ships of her kind, which typically stayed close to the coastline. This route across the open Atlantic was challenging enough for larger vessels, let alone one built for shorter trips. And it wasn't long before disaster struck. In the middle of the Atlantic, hundreds of miles from any shore, the Alta's engines failed. The crew, a mix of Honduran, Panamanian, and Greek sailors, found themselves stranded, their attempts at repair proving useless. Days turned into weeks as they floated helplessly, and supplies began to dwindle. Fortunately, after a month adrift, the crew's SOS was picked up by the U.S. Coast Guard, who airdropped food and water. The Coast Guard had planned to arrange a tow to bring the Alta to the nearest port, but that plan was soon abandoned when Tropical Storm Leslie barreled toward the ship. With a powerful storm approaching, the Coast Guard prioritized rescuing the Alta's crew over saving the vessel itself. The ship was left adrift, with only the unpredictable Atlantic winds to guide it, while the crew was safely transported to shore. And so, the MV Alta's eerie odyssey as a ghost ship began. For the next 18 months, the MV Alta floated across the Atlantic. Even with no crew to steer her, the ship continued to drift, crossing miles upon miles of open ocean with no destination. During this time, sightings of the vessel were rare. Oddly, despite being equipped with an automatic identification system, AIS, which allowed vessels to be tracked, the AIS on the Alta was switched on and off at random, as if it were trying to evade detection. Normally, ships keep their AIS activated to avoid collisions and ensure they're visible to other vessels, but the Alta's sporadic AIS activity only added to its mystery. Some reports even suggest that at one point, an attempt was made to salvage the Alta by towing her to Guyana. However, this effort allegedly ended in chaos when the ship was reportedly hijacked by pirates who abandoned her once again in the middle of the Atlantic. This second abandonment added a strange new layer to the Alta's story. Yet due to the lack of concrete evidence and witness reports, these claims of piracy remain an unsolved piece of the puzzle, lending even more intrigue to the ship's tale. Was it really hijacked? Or was this yet another trick of the sea? The Alta's journey continued without incident until August or September 2019, when it was spotted by the Royal Navy's HMS Protector near Bermuda. The crew of HMS Protector attempted to make contact, but there was no response. The ghost ship continued drifting, seemingly undeterred toward the eastern horizon. After this encounter, the Alta was swallowed back into the vast Atlantic, vanishing once again from sight. Months passed, and by early February 2020, the Alta was unknowingly nearing her final destination, the rugged coast of Ireland. As the ship approached, Storm Dennis descended upon the region with fierce winds and powerful waves, pushing the Alta even closer to land. On February 16, 2020, she finally met her fate, running aground on the rocks near Ballycotton, County Cork. The stranded ship was quickly noticed by locals, who were both shocked and intrigued by the sight of a massive, crewless vessel wrecked along their shoreline. Local authorities, now responsible for the ghostly cargo ship, immediately set to work assessing the situation. Concerned about the potential for oil spills or environmental hazards, they arranged for a team to remove any remaining barrels of oil from the vessel. This involved helicopters airlifting barrels off the ship and setting up barriers in the water to catch any oil that might leak. The authorities also issued strict warnings to curious onlookers, cautioning them to keep their distance from the wreck, which was situated on a dangerous stretch of coastline. Despite these warnings, the MV Alta quickly became a tourist attraction. People flocked to Ballycotton, eager to catch a glimpse of the enigmatic ghost ship and in some cases, even explore it. However, the council continued to stress the danger of venturing too close, as the Alta's structure was severely weakened, making it unstable and hazardous. By the end of 2020, the MV Alta's fate was still uncertain. Efforts to track down her owners had failed. No one had come forward to claim responsibility, despite international attention and the vessel's high-profile grounding. Maritime law dictated that if the owners were identified, they would be liable for the costs associated with removing the ship, which would easily exceed 10 million euros. With no one claiming the ship and such a high price tag attached to its removal, the Irish government was left with limited options. In early 2021, the Alta's ghostly story took yet another strange turn. A fire broke out on the ship, engulfing the bridge and upper decks in flames. Firefighters arrived quickly and managed to extinguish the blaze, but not before the fire had severely damaged the ship. The cause of the fire was never officially determined, though local reports suggested it may have been a case of arson, with rumors circulating that someone had deliberately set the abandoned ship alight. This incident led to even more questions and criticisms, with some Irish officials, like Senator Tim Lombard, calling for stronger legislation to manage derelict ships and better resources to deal with such unusual situations. Through stormy weather and the wear and tear of the elements, the Alta continued to deteriorate. In early 2022, a series of storms finally split the ship in two, sending fragments of her hull scattering along the shoreline. The Irish government assessed the damage and determined that, due to the ship's now broken state, removing the wreckage would pose unnecessary risks to both the environment and any potential salvage crew. As the Alta lay in ruins along the Ballycotton coast, she continued to attract the interest of curious visitors, historians, and maritime enthusiasts. Her strange story, marked by abandonment, mystery, and the merciless forces of nature, cemented her place in modern folklore as one of the world's few true ghost ships. With her remnants left to slowly corrode in the salty sea air, it became clear that the MV Alta's final chapter would play out here, on Ireland's rugged coast. So, as the sun sets over Ballycotton and waves crash against what remains of the Alta, her story serves as a haunting reminder of the ocean's vast mysteries. Even in the 21st century, with satellites and navigation systems, the sea can still hide secrets. And as long as she remains there, the MV Alta will continue to captivate imaginations as the ghost ship that defied all odds, journeying across the Atlantic with no crew and no purpose but to drift in the open waters. If you found this story of the MV Alta as hauntingly fascinating as we did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more stories from the mysteries of the sea. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.